Hello folks, I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide, sitting in my studio, which we call McFarland's Corner. I'm going to be giving you a Lake Fork free fishing rundown for largemouth bass and crappie, something we do once a week as of 2025. So for the year 2025, let's get you kicked off with it. Some of the information about Lake Fork to help you have a better time when you visit Lake Fork here. In this little rundown, we'll cover lake conditions, some basic fishing conditions, weather outlook, not so much the weather that you and I experience, but a water temperature weather outlook, what to expect in other words, and how that affects fish, and then a few other little details and whatnot. So thanks for being here. All right, let's go into some area news. I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of things happening around Lake Fork right now. All of the businesses are prepping for a big spring. The lake is basically about 1 foot 7 inches below full pool, which is above average for this time of year. So with any spring rain at all, we're going to hit full pool again. There's vegetation, little bit of hydrilla, lots of coontail, water hyacinth that they didn't spray, which is freezing back just a little bit, but maintaining through the winter. So the vegetation through the winter is excellent. It keeps fish shallow, and again, it's just better as it kicks the spring off. It's like setting up for a party. Last year you set up for a party last year and you left 80% of the setup. So it's next year's party, boy. It takes right off. The grass takes right off when it comes to life, and boom, the lake is banging. So I'm excited about 2025 on Fork. Water clarity wise, it's 0 to 1. Staying in the backwaters for sure. The biggest effect that we've had is the last 2 weeks we've gotten colder. And a week ago, we had a little Arctic blast with some snow and ice. And that snow and ice melted slowly. Didn't go in the ground, it went in the lake. And we went up about 2 inches of cold, ice cold water. So really now the temperatures are way down, 44, 47s, low 40s. And here's the thing, there's a bigger outlook coming. Another whole week of 20s and 30s. 20 lows, 30 highs. So we're really zapped right now, temperature-wise. All right. With that being said, again, the bass fishing is slow. It really is. It wasn't. We were doing pretty good fishing, various techniques, both shallow and deep. But right now it's tough. And so my highest recommendation for bass, number 1 on 4, it would be to go deep. Those fish are less affected. And when I say deep, I'm talking 20 plus for sure, 28 to 35 or more. Look for big schools of bait fish. Maybe break out your slab spoons. Either that or get you a good jig going. Get up in the creeks and whatnot. And this would be the way that I would be focused on black and blue type jig in a creek swing in a bend where there's some wood, and really take my time and go slow. But those deeper fish are probably better to chase. You may be able to fish for them several ways. The key is going to be find that deep, grouped up balls of bait. Make sure that bait is tighter to the bottom and elongated and broken up or whatnot, and you might find some success. If that bait's round and suspending in open water, just keep moving. All right. So that kind of covers the bass fishing. Always remember that if you want more details. And in case today there's really not a lot of details, we're so cold. But if you're wanting more bass fishing details or information on other lakes, then we have a members only private channel. Same McFarland's Corner, just a much more upgraded fishing report. You get more details on Lake Fork. You get locations, key bites, things like that. Again, like right now, there really isn't anything special to tell you. But in a week or 2 or 3, when things change, we get on big bites as our guide service gets on fish. We share that in the McFarland's members only channel. I also share a whole bunch of other lakes: Lavon, Possum Kingdom, Hubbard, Ivy, Bodark, Athens, Welsh. in this members only report. So if you want more bass information, right now I don't have anything to give you for Fork, but there are some good fishing. There are some other lakes that's fishing really well right now. So subscribe to our members only channel. Look in the link below, or look in the description below and click on the link, okay? But anyways, let's move on. I want to cover a couple things. Like I said, the weather's even going to get colder next week, so if you're not so much a diehard bass fisherman, you might consider the crappie on Lake Fork. And that's what I'm going to get you now. Great friend of mine, great guide. Been working with him for a couple years now. Very, very consistent and very, what's the word, professional. I really like this guy, and his reports are spot on. He takes pride in what he does, and it's just awesome. His name's Jackie Wiggins, and he covers Lake Fork crappie for us. Here's what he says. He says, the fishing for the crappie has been up and down, just like the weather the last few weeks. We've definitely settled into a winter pattern, about 18 feet to as deep as you can find. So meaning 18 out to 60. When he's saying 60, a lot of times I know what he's saying, and he says it here, some fish are just 8 feet to 18 feet down, but they may be out in the timber in even 60 plus foot of water, okay? So if this fish here, for example, was a big tree in Lake Fork, and it's 60 foot to the bottom and 20 foot to the top, the fish could be right in the tops of those trees. And I'm not a crappie expert, but basically they're in 8 to 18 feet in trees or water that is 60 foot. Kind of like what the bass do in the middle of summer. Here's what he says though. He also says you can find some fish down 45 to 50 on that same timber. So, the fish have moved to winter patterns. If you know crappie and winter patterns, seen tons of small fish, not a lot of the bigger fish. He said you can pick some bigger fish out of some, he said fish 2 or so a group, and then you just got to find another group. So finding a school of crappie, pick the best ones out and move on. He said smaller baits are working right now, 1/16 ounce hand tied on 6 to 12 pound fluoro. That's the best deal. And then neutral colors, all right? So that's what we got. And by the way, he talked about downsizing, small size, when they get finicky. Do the same with your bass fishing. So if you normally would throw a big jig, this is a 1/2 ounce jig. This is a typical jig that you see bass fishermen tie most of the time. When you're bass fishing, downsize. This here is the same weight, okay? Believe it or not. This is a 1/2 ounce, this is a 1/2 ounce. But the body and everything, this is more of a spider jig on the left here. It's smaller trailer, more profiled. Downsize sometimes when things get this cold and this critical. And you might, you're not going to go out there and wreck it, but you might get a few extra bites. Or, on Fork, when it's this miserable out there, I don't see miserable. It might be a nice sunny day on Saturday, but when the water's this miserably cold, there's 2 things. I'll make a joke, and in lieu of my good old buddy Mark Pack, he would say, best place to fish from when it's this cold is your couch. But look, sometimes just one bite on Fork, it could be 8, 9, 10 pounder. Man, that's worth it. That's really worth it. So, also remember a quick thing, real-time rods, magic reaction. I promise you, when it's cold, when things are like this and bass aren't eating real well, something as simple as having some scent on the bait. Remember, you're gonna fish as slow as you can. You're not gonna move it a lot. Something as simple as having that on there really might make all the difference in the world, whether you zero or even give it at all. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your following, your subscription. Reminder again, look in the description below, click on the link, become a member, learn so much more, 80 videos in the archive, 81 videos over, I can't remember what it is, 5, I have it written down somewhere, 50,000 hours of view time. It's unreal, so come check us out. Hit the like button if you found this good, comment below. Book a guide trip with us. We're filling up. Like I said, this spring, the lake level is good. We're going to hit full pool. The frog bite's going to be there. The swim jig bite's going to be there. Let me show you how to do it. Come on, let's go. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide.